Grace, I pray you're well today. Hey, happy Saturday. And if you practice and honor the Sabbath, happy Sabbath day to you. You know, the original Sabbath it was originally Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. And what happened was, there were a lot of people worshiping the sun, the actual sun in the sky. And so Constantine and the Roman Catholic Church decided to make the Sabbath day Sunday, but how can that be changed when the ultimate original date was Saturday, Friday sundown to Saturday sundown? Just some food for thought. But today we are talking about the fantasy of wealth. I'm excited to get into it because I think a lot of us, including myself, we have learned that there's a huge difference and that there's a different mindset when it comes to not just wealth, but how we go about it. All right. So Proverbs chapter 28. The wicked flee, though no one pursues, but the righteous are as bold as a lion. When a country is rebellious, it has many rulers, but a ruler with discernment and knowledge maintains order. A ruler who oppresses the poor is like a driving rain that leaves no crops. Pardon me, y'all. Hold on one second. That leaves no crops. We gonna get it together. We gonna get it together. Those who forsake instruction praise the wicked, but those who heed it resist them. Evildoers do not understand what is right, but those who seek the Lord understand it fully. Better the poor whose walk is blameless than the rich whose ways are perverse. A discerning son heeds instruction, but a companion of glutton grace disgraces his father. Whoever increases wealth by taking interest or profit from the poor amasses it for another who will be kind to the poor. If anyone turns a deaf ear to my instruction, even their prayers are detestable. Whoever leads the upright along an evil path will fall into their own trap, but the blameless will receive a good inheritance. The rich are wise in their own eyes. One who is poor and discerning sees how deluded they are. When the righteous triumph, there is great elation. But when the wicked rise to power, people go into hiding. Whoever conceals their sins does not prosper, but the one who confesses and renounces them finds mercy. Blessed is the one who always trembles before God, but whoever hardens their heart falls into trouble. Like a roaring lion or a charging bear is a wicked ruler over a helpless people. A tyrannical ruler practices extortion, but one who hates ill-gotten gain will enjoy a long reign. Anyone tormented by the guilt of murder will seek refuge in the grave. Let no one hold them back. The one whose walk is blameless is kept safe. The one whose walk is blameless is kept safe, but the one whose ways are perverse will fall into the pit. Those who work their land will have abundant food, but those who chase fantasies will have their fill of poverty. A faithful person will be richly blessed, but one eager to get rich will not go unpunished. To show partiality is not good, yet a person will do wrong for a piece of bread. The stingy are eager to get rich and are unaware that poverty awaits them. Whoever rebukes a person will in the end gain favor, rather than one who has a flattering tongue. Whoever robs their father or mother and says, "It's not wrong," is a partner to one who destroys. The greedy stir up conflict, but those who trust in the Lord will prosper. Those who trust in themselves are fools, but those who walk in wisdom are kept safe. Those who give to the poor will lack nothing, but those who close their eyes to them receive many curses. When the wicked rise to power, people go into hiding, but when the wicked perish, the righteous thrive. All right, so let's get into it. We're talking about the fantasy of wealth. This is really important because a lot of people think that just because there's that desire to get wealthy, that it's going to come easy, or you don't really have to work as hard, or it's just going to happen like that. And that's most of the time that's not the case. Even when it comes to people who win the lottery, right? And how the majority of people end up messing up the income that comes to them, or even how the majority of football players, it's been said, I don't know if the times have changed, but it's been said, a football star, will rise to the top, their peak, and then they're done playing football, and then they lose all their money. You know what I'm saying? And we see it also in the music industry as well. And so what's really going on here? Let's talk about it. So we're going to get into fantasy, right? The word fantasy. How'd y'all like stupid is as stupid does? Talk to me. That was I have fun with that one. All right, so fantasy. It's an old form of fancy. Okay. The original spelling of fancy, which see that did I spell it right? Fantasy, Fantasy. Okay, I mean I said it right. So okay, so let's look up fancy. Let's look it up. So fancy, okay, an image or representation formed in the mind at pleasure, but not always connected with reason or practicability. A false notion, a liking or conceit or whim. Ooh, that's good. Pleasing to or guided by fancy or caprice. Elegant, ornamental. Ouch, ornamental. To portray in the mind, to imagine, to have a fancy or liking for, to be pleased with, fancying, fancied, to figure oneself, to imagine, to like, to be pleased with. The faculty of the mind by which it recalls, represents, or makes to appear past images or impressions, an image or representation thus formed in the mind, an unreasonable or capricious opinion. I almost said onion, excuse me. A whim, capricious inclination, or liking. Wow. Okay. So I never even knew that fancy, was that. The etymology of the word fancy. To be honest with you, I've always, seen fancy as, more elegant, right? Just, a higher class, someone's fancy and everything like that. Not to be confused with somebody being bougie, like stuck up, but more so, like how it says here, elegant, to be pleased with. I think that's awesome, image or representation. But like when they started getting into, but not always connected with reason, practicability or not practicability, practicability, yeah, a false notion, a liking, a conceit, or a whim. Let's hit up whim. Let's see what this. A capricious fancy or conceit, a freakish humor, a drum, or capstan worked by horses for whining. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, a capricious. Let's look up caprice. Hold on. A change of humor or opinion without reason. A freak, a sudden change of opinion or humor, a whim, a particular fancy. And we're going to go to reason without reason, right? We're talking about reason, reasoner, to exercise the faculty of reason, to deduce inferences from premises, to argue, to debate, to converse. That power of faculty in man which eminently distinguishes him from the other animals, and the possession of which enables him to deduce inferences for facts or propositions, and to distinguish good from evil and truth from falsehood. I like that. A thought or consideration as bearing on a question, cause, ground, motive, that which justifies or supports a determination or a plan, a final cause, end, or object sought, justice, moderation, purpose. Ooh, I like that. Design, to examine, right here. This is the one that you want. Examine or discuss, debate, persuade by reasoning, examine. One more. Let's see. Okay. All right. To test, to inquire into, to question, to inspect carefully. I love that. With a view to discover the real estate, to discover the real state of, to search or inquire into, to try by experiment, rule, or law, to scrutinize. I love this one. To examine. So when we're talking about specifically verse 19, because that's where we're actually going to be. We're going to be talking about verse 19. But before we get back into it, because we're talking about the fantasy of wealth, please enjoy this. Greetings. Secure your path in just 3 steps. I myself knew a piece of my purpose, but I lacked the depths of my vision. I knew that I would make an impact, but I did not feel significant because I didn't know how to achieve this and actually make money online. Now I exercise the confidence of my purpose, execute my strategies for more impact, and I feel more fulfilled, making money as a result, helping other educators do the same as me. Some have even left their 9-to-5. Specifically, this year, I want to help 1,000 people discover their purpose in depth, strategize their impact, and make money online organically with the right information and guidance straight, no chaser. Go to online.theetablueprint.com right now so that you can be confident in your purpose like me and no longer lost on your path. My name is Imani Allen and I own Priceless Faith Productions, where your impact can become omnipresent. 10x, baby! All right. So we are specifically talking about Proverbs chapter 28, verse 19. Those who work their land will have abundant food, but those who chase fantasies will have their fill of poverty. And this is important because there are so many people that are like, yes, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship rocks. We're going to do entrepreneurship. We're going to go for it. We're going to be super rich. We're going to be a millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire, quadrillionaire. As Ludacris said, a million for $1,000,000. You know what he said? He said he got his pinky because his pinky's worth a million gazillion $1,000,000 because you're going to be a fulfillionaire. What is that? Is that five? Or is a quinzillionaire? I mean, there are all of these numbers, right? But one of the most important number, right, the number sequence, right, that we're looking for is one step at a time, right? Is in understanding the number of effort that you're putting into the overall goal. You see, with Priceless Faith Productions, right? When I communicate with my students, and I'm talking about consultations here, right, in the programs, one of the things that we talk about is significance, right? We're talking about an impact. You're not making money just to make money. In fact, you have a mandatory giving goal. It's required that what you make, you know what I'm saying, you do have something that means something to you that you're going to give back to. Not only that, when you are in fact reaching wealth and riches and everything like that, that's part of that comes with the territory. That comes with the territory. A lot of these people that are super duper wealthy out here, they're giving. They're giving intentionally though. And then sometimes they may be giving, just lump sums to different random charities that really actually aren't helping the people. So I would love to encourage people, if you have a charity on the inside of you, God has given you a nonprofit or whatever, and it's something that's beautiful and you've seen it work, or you want to test it out, because you could be the very next nonprofit that wealthy people, as we're coming up, we're like, oh, wait a second. I know this person. They've been working on this joint for 5 years. I want to be able to sow into their ministry, into their nonprofit, because they're actually helping people. And I've seen how they're helping people. And so where the money, your hard-earned dollars, are actually going to. So when we're talking about the fantasy, we're talking about examining how we go about things. This is important because, man, let me tell you, and because online is different from in person. It's completely different. Like, building a business online is completely different from in person. You could be like a beast in person, but online is a completely different beast because you have to learn new ways to connect with others. Not only that, there's a whole lot that is in fact missing when it is online. Like, for me, for an example, I love in person. You know what I'm saying? I love events and things like that. And so it's like, that adjustment I had to understand and learn that, okay, when it comes to building a business online, I cannot go about it the same way that I would do if it was in person. And so, in understanding that, I had to remove and change my mindset, remove old ideologies, and change my mindset to fit where it is that I'm trying to build on, that God has called me to, right? God was like, 2020, time to go online. And I'm like, and do what? Because I don't really have much of a plan. And I just started going live, y'all. I just started going live. And I'm like, what is it that I'm supposed to do? And I'm just sharing. There was no real structure. There was no strategy, none of that. I'm just like, talking about my day or just random stuff. But God started to show me the power of what was happening. The more I did it, the more I took steps out, the more I took leaps, the more I trusted that no matter what, he's going to guide me. And on top of that, right, just putting myself out there, sharing the stuff that I don't know, like, hey, you know what, tell me, let's talk about it, inviting people into the conversation so that their opinion is not just heard but also valued, and then we discuss it, right? Because that's what love does, that's what respect does. And when you start to think about building a brand that way, it's way more intentional, it's way more meaningful. And that is one way on how you can actually build an impact, one that is more sustaining, right? Because it tells us those who work their land will have abundant food. What I was just explaining to you was actually working the land. The land is the online space. The land is a social network, right? How you work on your social network and you're presenting yourself and sharing stuff about you, right? And empowering, encouraging others, and whatever it is you're trying to do. Overall, your product, yes, you are a product, but you're providing a service. You're solving a problem, right? That's the whole thing, right? Your product or service is to help people. At least I hope it is. Because at the end of the day, just because somebody gives you money, you don't want to be like, okay, bye. No, you want to build relationships. That's why there are people out here, they have like less than like maybe 10,000, less than 1,000 followers, but they're making millions. And then you've got people with millions of followers and they haven't touched a million yet. So what does that tell you? That tells you that it comes down to relationship. If you aren't building a relationship, how can you really work the land, right? Because you can't build it by yourself. No, when you are building on land, right? For an example, if you don't know how to do all of the information, all of the things that you're going to need to build, like I'm talking carpentry, plumbing, electric, the electricity aspect, bringing all those aspects in. If you don't know how to do that, what do you have to do? You need to connect with other people who know those areas so that they can help you build on your land, right? But when you connect with them, you tell them what it is you're trying to do, and then they will connect with you as well. Be like, you know what? I need you. What you bring to the table, it matters because, oh, you know how to do this. Oh, you're building that. I like that. How can I learn from you? Or you know what? I know someone who would be interested in learning from you. Can you send me your information? And that's how you continuously build, right? Because most of the time people are in fact doing their like bottom line. They're building their bottom line from referrals. And yes, that's a good way. There are way more efficient ways. There are way more powerful ways, tactical ways. I'm talking like advertising, for an example. But I just want to share with you that if you're not doing anything, nothing will come in. And I'm saying that even though I know the power of, investing, right? Even then, as an investor, if you don't know how to properly invest, how to read the charts, how to know, see a bigger picture, a vision of what it is you're investing in, then you could be missing out because you did not put the work in to understand that and to understand the language and then to know where the money goes so that you, in fact, you can sit back while everybody else goes on ahead and puts the work in. Why? Because you put the work in prior, right? Uncle Warren, Dr. Eric Thomas, right? When he did that audio, man, I love that. That's one of my favorite audios by him. And the reason why is because Warren Buffett, yes, we know he reads six hours a day. That's powerful stuff. But one thing he said was, Dr. Eric Thomas said, "Hey, why is it that you're reading this article from, it was like 1950, I think, or something along those lines?" And he told him that success does not have a year on it. And that was around the time where he went and bought Coca-Cola. And what Warren Buffett did was when he purchased Coca-Cola, he already knew the numbers. He saw the numbers. And then he was like, "Hey, with this one particular product, I want you to raise it 1 penny." 1 penny. And you know what's funny about that? If I recall correctly, there was a small controversy about that 1 penny. But that 1 penny on that one product of Coca-Cola by Coca-Cola bought him and gave Warren Buffett an additional $6 million per year. And he didn't have to do anything but say, you know what, raise this one product 1 penny. Why? And how did he know to do that? Because he put the work in. He understood that he needed to understand the value of investing so that by the time the opportunity presented itself, he knew what to do with it. And that's the power of working your land. That's the power of working your land. And I want to encourage you, as someone who, didn't, examine well enough, especially in my younger years. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? And then understand like, dang, I need to learn financial literacy. I need to learn how to manage better. I need to learn how to effectively become a better investor. You know what I'm saying? This is and that's the goal for me. Ideas and investments, right? That's what I want to get paid for, lifetime, you know what I'm saying? And forever. I'm talking, look, I'm talking perpetual royalties here, right? That's the goal. But in understanding that, I was like, wow, there's a lot that I need to learn. Not only that, there's a lot that I need to make sure that I set myself up so when the opportunity presents itself, I'm ready to go ahead and continuously work the land because I've already been working it. And all I got to do is put the right things into place and it continuously grows. In fact, that's a Proverbs 31 woman right there. She out there working the land. She's not living in a fantasy land. You understand what I'm saying? And so it says, those who work their land will have abundant food, but those who chase fantasies will have their fill of poverty. So you want to know what's powerful about this, right? There is the parable of the talents, right? That's in the Bible. And it's the one where, the investor, he gives, one man 1 talent, another man 5, another man 10. He comes back, I think about a month later. The one who had 10 talents doubled the investment. And so he gave him some and he's like, awesome, you did great. The second guy who did 5, he doubled his investment. He did great. The first guy who got 1 talent, right? He didn't do anything. He buried it in the sand because he was so worried. What was he worried about? He chased this fantasy. And you're going to find out as we continue on through the book of Proverbs that fear is a hindrance. Fear can also be looked at as a fantasy. It's unreasonable. It's there when you start to think about it, right? God does not give you a spirit of fear, but a power of love and a sound mind, right? Sound mind, that means at peace, right? Not only that, if it's not at peace, something's missing. Something, or if it's an anxiety, then you got to really get a hold on it. And that's powerful stuff because as someone who has dealt with things like that, you know what I'm saying? You make some wrong decisions. You make enough bad decisions. You're like, dang, I don't want to make no more decisions. And I'm like, whew, I ain't going to do nothing at all. And I'm telling you from experience, like I've done that. And I was like, okay, all right, stop being a punk. It's time to step out and over these hills, over these hurdles, because you know what? That is part of the process. The issue didn't really come down to the hurdle. It came to the lack of preparation I had as a result of experiencing hurdles I didn't know how to handle or deal with or get over or fix. You understand what I'm saying? It comes down to, okay, there's knowledge that's missing, which told me that, you know what? I'm not examining enough. I'm not doing enough work on the knowledge. And then here comes the best part and the most important part. This is the part that separates you and all of us, myself, everybody, from being a winner or a loser. And I'm just going to be honest with you, right? The application. And not just any type of application, deliberate, vigilant, consistent, discipline in that application, because you understand that those who work their land will have abundant food, but those who chase fantasies will have their fill of poverty. And in North America, we know what it is already out here, and it's not looking good. It's not looking good. But in order for those things to change, it all starts with each one of us individually as a person. And how we change is we start by changing ourselves. We start by examining ourselves, becoming aware, like, you know what? I don't need to do this because, you know what, this isn't helping, or I'm doing this and it's not bringing me what it is that I need to bring for true sustainability. I need to add something on top of it, right? If the average person is watching 4 hours and some change of television per day, you're looking at what, 4 times 7 alone was 28 hours. Imagine if you invested 28 hours of your week into learning something that will actually sustain you and then applying those things each and every single week. Let's see, 28. And we won't even do 52 because, include some holidays in there, right? 28 times 50. That's 1,400 hours in 1 year that you can intentionally be focusing on doing something else, applying yourself, getting the knowledge so that you can work your land, right? Because that's what it's about. Let's get that financial literacy, y'all, and let's apply. Let's not just get the knowledge. We got to apply it because that's what wisdom is. It's applied knowledge. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm super excited for you guys. And I'm looking forward to hearing your wins. And come on, tag me in your wins, no matter how big or small. Let me tell you something. I want to hear your wins and celebrate with you. So thank you so much for tuning in. And hey, I wish you a phenomenal day. I pray you have a phenomenal day. That's my prayer for you this evening. All right.
Hey, I want to do this video for Imani Allen. That's my girl. She's always been a great supporter, but one day I decided that my logo wasn't mature enough. It was kind of cartoonish, and my business is a serious business. So I reached out to Imani and told her what I wanted, and she said, "What are your favorite colors?" And I told her what my colors were. And because my business is about vacation, you know, it's about the water, the blue, the sun. So it's the blue, the turquoise, and the yellow. And I told her that I wanted it to be a little sophisticated. So Imani said, "All right, I got you." Let me tell you something. Her turnaround time, amazing. She is awesome. And she did exactly what I wanted. So if you're looking for someone to do your logo, I say reach out to Imani Allen. The girl's got skills. Thank you, Imani.
Miss Lola Porter, she's a beast with it, and she rocking things out.